Cha-cha-cha. For those of you who watch wrestling, just know that Mick Foley is the fucking GOAT, okay? A few months ago on one of my skit channels, someone made a comment explaining if I'll ever do a CT video explaining why I think CTs are very, very, very flawed. Think of this video as a precursor to that in some areas. If you're expecting when that video is gonna drop, don't expect it anytime soon, because I want to take my time dissecting every detail I can to explain why CTs are a shit show to me. And if you just got triggered by that sentence, then you better click off of this video now, because I'm not about to hold back to what I'm about to say. Before I start, I want to say that everything I'm about to say throughout this video is purely my opinion, and I don't mean to start any drama with anyone who has a large influence on CTs or CTGP in general. I am simply a lazy-eyed, nappy-haired black guy giving his 2 cents of why I think CTGP is being handled pretty poorly, and there's issues with how people are handling it, among other things. So about a week ago, a few months ago, that the biannual CTGP track rating form was placed in the CTGP track testers Discord and on their Twitter account. For those of you who don't know, every 6 months or so, there's a form to be voted upon by the Mario Kart Wii community to essentially see the community's general opinions on CTs in this pack. Naturally, this sparked a whole debate on Twitter where most people came across this form. There were a few debates like Troy arguing that none of the retros should be removed from CTGP, Chad shit like that. But the main argument was with Mushroom Peaks. This track without question is the most controversial track in the pack for many reasons. Too long, poorly designed, fucking ugly as shit. Those are just a few reasons many people in the community, including myself, think why this track isn't good. On the flip side, you have people coming through defending Peaks with the same boring and tired old defense of get good. Word of advice, if you're gonna defend any custom track in this pack, how about you actually say something that's actually worth putting in the argument rather than saying these empty hollow set of words here. These words have about as much impact as saying no you when someone criticizes anything. Anyways, the results from the forum were posted a few days later for people to see. Damn, a lot of y'all do not like ASDF course, huh? But hey, even though it's not as many votes, across the board, Peaks has been voted to be removed from CTGP from both casual players and competitive players. So naturally, since Peaks is heavily being voted to be removed from the pack, that means it's gonna happen, right? You know, that's a fairy tale ending right there. That's a very good fairy tale ending right there. Yeah. If only if it was as simple as that. I say that because of this message that was tagged along with the results. We believe some tracks are only disliked as a result of bugs and or specific sections that can be improved via a track update rather than a removal. The more I look at this part of the message, the more it makes me want to scratch my head until my finger makes contact with my brain. What do you mean by some tracks? Like, what tracks fall under the category of flat out being removed and not being removed but are getting updates in the future? Like, this part of the message seemed very vague to me. I do agree that some custom tracks are only hated because of certain details they have. With that in mind, why would you keep that track in the pack rather than just removing the track from the pack and then adding it back in once an update is ready? Like, I'm not saying you should update the track immediately or anything, but it's not going to be a good look for you guys when it's 6 months to a year down the line and that downvoted heavy track is still in the pack with 0 updates. Off the bat of this message, I decided to get a few questions answered from the track testers Discord. After I sparked this debate in the server, I came across some interesting comments on the discussion, most of which came from Raptor. I'm going to talk about the responses that really interested me the most. Peaks' problem goes beyond that one section though. That's completely and utterly subjective, sir. Well, when that subjectivity gets to a point where many people in the community are voicing their displeasure about the track and it causes a lot of heated debates around it, I don't think it's something you can necessarily gloss over. Melg then explains the biggest issues surrounding the track among the player base. You'd think after generalizing the major issues the track has, the staff would come to the conclusion to update the track. But as many people in this community know, Peaks gets special treatment. I'll go further on that later. If you only play 30 minutes playing a week, then you'll either run into Peaks in Worldwide, making it a miserable 5 minutes experience anyways, or you spend 5 minutes actually learning the track. What part of it takes more than 5 minutes to learn a track do you not understand? Sorry, but learning a simple pattern doesn't take 5 minutes. For those who don't know, this is coming from someone who's had years of experience playing the game. Everyone is different. Like, what takes 5 minutes for someone to learn might actually take 10 minutes for someone else. And that's if someone even knows the general mechanics of this game. I will at least not bitch about it like the majority of this ungrateful and lazy community otherwise. Until someone makes a new version and Peaks stays #1 by a large margin, I think you all need to realize that Peaks will never go away. Bitching won't make the track disappear. So shut the fuck up and enjoy and play the damn game. Hard to enjoy the game when I'd have to play Peaks and Match of Madness and Multi-Magma Melee and all that shit every race. You spend more time bitching about stuff you don't like than actually playing the game. These are the type of fucking mindsets I hate from CT players. Like, this is a prime example of a hardcore CT defender not being open-minded to the general issues custom tracks have and why so many people in the community don't even want to touch them. Like, you can't shit on people for not liking CTs and having their reasons why, and then complain why the CT scene isn't as active as it can be. I know how to do Baby Park and I still despise it, and it gets picked frequently. Doesn't stop me from playing the game though. You have to respect that other people have different opinions on which tracks they enjoy. This shit is so stupid, dude. Dude, the first time I came across this comment, dude, I had laughed my ass off. Whether Raptor meant to or not, he pretty much compared Baby Park to Mushroom Peaks. Those two tracks couldn't be more far apart. Like, at worst, Baby Park is a boring loop that takes 7 laps to finish. I know loads of people don't like Baby Park, nerds. However, I don't hear people turning off their consoles when that track gets picked online. Baby Park doesn't spark that rhymes. Baby Park doesn't spark huge heated debates within the community. Baby Park doesn't discourage loads of people from playing the game. You can't say the same thing about Peaks. Pretty funny how Raptor says you need to respect people's different opinions on tracks and shit, when not too long ago, he called the majority of this community ungrateful and lazy. But come on guys, these are comments that are clearly coming from someone who respects people's opinions about CTs. And honestly, if you don't play the game because there are 10 to 20 tracks possibly to get picked that you don't like, well, fuck you then, I guess. That's your problem. Then maybe you are the problem, not CTGP. Yikes. If one day there is indeed evidence that there is a genuine demand for such tracks to go, this talk can be had again. What more evidence do you need? What more evidence do you need? This track always spirals discourse when talking about it. Loads of people don't want it in the pack anymore, and someone even got harassed out of the community for giving their honest takes about it. Like, that seems like plenty of evidence to me. There's no evidence that removing Peaks, you'd have loads of players suddenly joining or coming back. I 100% agree on this. Like, Peaks is just one part of an overwhelming issue surrounding CTs and the CT community as a whole. That being said though, you could test out and see which custom tracks are problematic to the point where people don't want to touch CTs. You guys do a lot of polls on that server. Why not just do a written response, gathering up people's thoughts on which CT they think is a problem for CTGP. Just analyzing this whole conversation gave me a good idea on why I think CTs are the way they are. Okay, how can you come to that conclusion based off one conversation? Oh, don't worry, your boy's packing heat. But before I go any further on this, I wanted to go over the main general issues surrounding Peaks. I mean, it's the least I can do after talking about the track so much throughout this video. Oh man, where do I even start? So many options for me to choose from. But I guess I'll start with this. Bean is biased towards the track. Think about it. The guy is responsible for not only creating this pack, but has total control over what track gets added, removed, or denied from the pack. He doesn't have to answer to anyone unless someone threatens him legally. And it just so happens that some of the tracks he's made are still within the pack, and they more or less have gotten no updates over the years. Is it unreasonable to think that he'll just keep the tracks within the pack for as long as he wants, giving those tracks he's made special treatment? You could argue that his tracks gets picked a lot, but the statistics of those tracks don't reflect the general opinions of them, especially when it comes to Peaks. I mean, for a track that gets picked a lot, it sure does have a mixed bag full of opinions surrounding it. This is just pure speculation on my part, so take with that what you will. Another huge issue with Peaks is that it's a track in its current state that just doesn't belong in CTGP. The general standards of CTs has risen over the years, and they'll continue to grow as time goes on. The CTs that people were making in 2010 are completely different from the CTs people are making now. So when you have a track like Peaks that's barely changed, and and is surrounded by the current day CTs that far surpass the CTs in the early days in many areas, it doesn't mesh well and it makes the pack look sloppy in a sense. Imagine playing a track on the quality of Kamek's library, then in the next race you play Peaks. These two tracks could be more different in terms of visuals and quality. It'd be like for the next Mario Kart game, Nintendo decided to base the game's graphics right from Mario Kart DS. Even though it's visually one of the worst looking Mario Kart games in the series, and the quality and visuals of the recent Mario Kart games have far surpassed Mario Kart DS's. You could argue that visuals don't matter, but good luck having that fucking stance in the current day gaming landscape when visuals easily can make or break a game nowadays. I mean, loads of people were up in arms about the graphics of the new tracks from the booster pass. I know Peaks isn't the only track with this issue, but that doesn't make the track look better. If anything, it makes the pack look more of a mess. Dude, Bean said he's gonna update the track eventually. Mushroom Peaks is roughly around the same age as this game, and this game turned 14 this year. You're telling me it takes 14 years to update a track? I know we have lives outside of this game and all, but come on. 14 years? There's been new modes and settings incorporated into this pack, but not a single update to give Peaks the glow up it needs. This next part kind of annoys me. Whenever people complain about Peaks, you always have some defenders coming through saying, it's iconic, it's legendary, it's a trailblazer, it's a cornerstone, blah 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 blah. We get it. Therefore, it shouldn't be removed. I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself that this track doesn't hold historical value. That being said, to say that it shouldn't be removed just because of its historic value, I think is fucking ridiculous. Because at that point, you're creating a situation within the pack where all CTs are not going to be treated equal, especially if you keep doing this biannually track form. Like, you might as well do yourselves a favor and compile up the CTs that you know will never get removed from the pack if you guys are going to keep doing these forms, even if it's just out of curiosity. But to be honest, this form means absolutely shit to me now, because we are exactly in that situation. I've seen a lot of people saying that it would be better if Peaks was a hidden track. That won't do jack shit. Like, people are just gonna go out of their way to get the hidden track, and getting the hidden tracks in this game isn't necessarily a hard thing to do. Like, you're not solving the issue at that point, you're just altering it in a different way. Finally, if you're someone who likes Peaks, which there's nothing wrong with that, and you're willing to admit that the track hasn't aged the best over the years, you can't get mad at the people who don't like the track for the very same reasons you accepted yourselves. I mean, you can, but then you have to admit that you're a fucking hypocrite. Alright, so for this, we're going right back to the Track Testers Discord, and this situation involves my boy Raptor. Fuck yes! Man, fuck Disney World, this is a way better experience. About a year ago, I came across this weird issue on Abyssal Ruins, where a boost panel wasn't actually a boost panel. I thought this was awful track design, and decided to report it within the Track Testers Discord. These are the responses I got. It's kind of misleading, I agree, but not really a track flaw. I probably shouldn't question Raptor here because he clearly knows what he's talking about. But how can a track have a misleading detail about it and also not be a track flaw? That makes no sense to me. Dude, why are you turning to the right? That's an out of bounds area. Dude, it doesn't matter if the arrow is pointing right there. You're supposed to turn left. Idiots. But an entire update for just a wrong texture? Don't be ridiculous. That's not worth it. It's good to know that CTs are in good care with people like this around. Fast forward to the start of this year where I had the idea to make this video. I submitted the same track problem again to see if they had the same standards. Luckily, they smartened up and the problem is being fixed, even though some of them still don't agree that it's a big problem. I'm no teacher, but I'm going to take you guys to school and explain why I think something like this is a bigger deal than some people within that Discord server aren't willing to admit. When you introduce a mechanic or area in a game and it has the same properties throughout the whole game, the player then learns what exactly it is and how to handle it when it comes their way. Super Mario Sunshine, a game that has enough water to quench the thirst of any guy on Twitch. There are many areas in the game where you can swim in the water no problem. However, there are some areas in the game where you're giving a clear indication that swimming in the water will actually harm you. Like some of the missions in Noki Bay where the water looks like grape juice. Or the lily pad level where there are death signs at the beginning. Hey bro, best you don't take a sip of this. But let's say in Bianco Hills, you take one dip into the lake and you automatically die, with no warning or foreshadowing that the lake can kill you. That is what I call bad level design. So when there's a boost panel in a racing game that's been part of the series for pretty much 30 years and it doesn't have the normal properties of a boost panel, i.e. you gain speed by touching it, that is not good track design. This is not good track design. There's absolutely nothing on the track to at least warn the player that this ramp right here isn't a boost ramp. Made worse by the fact that there are 3 other boost panels on the track that actually function as boost panels. You could make the trial and error argument, but it's a thought process like that that welcomes issues like this to CTs to begin with. But hey, at least an update is coming to the track and won't be a problem anymore, even though the exact same issue is on Mansion of Madness and probably on more CTs. I don't have any personal issues with Bean. The guy has done great work for this community and whatnot, but I do question some of the decisions he does. I don't think he can take criticism very well, especially when it's constructive. The whole Mankalor Peaks video is a good example of that. He's also showcased a few times where he'll make comments and decisions about situations he knows the very bare minimum details about. When Mankalor dropped his Peaks video back in 2019, Bean initially flat out refused to watch it and based his opinions just on the thumbnail and title, and then raged about it in his Discord server. And then later that year, he was making rash decisions without knowing the full details about what went down between Victor and Amy, where Victor was trolling Amy in a lounge event to the point where it upset her greatly. Bean and a few WeFi mods agreed to ban him, even though that decision wasn't really theirs to make. This took place under Lounge, so realistically it should have been the Lounge's staff to make that decision, not the WeFi mods. It was just a whole fucking shit show, dude. Go watch Justin's video if you don't know the details about this. One of Bean's reasons to not get the full information on this was not watching the video out of respect. I cannot imagine if this guy was a lawyer.
Your Honor, I didn't get any info on this case, but I've heard as such. That's not how this works.
Personally, if you have the power to punish someone severely in this community, at the fucking bare minimum, get the full details about the situation. If you guys hear something in the background, I just turned on the AC. It's fucking hot in here, okay? In the summer of 2019, a popular Mario Kart 8 Deluxe player named Mankalor made a review video about Mushroom Peaks. To say this pissed off many people within the Mario Kart Wii community would be an understatement. Now, I've watched this video multiple times, and what I can take from it, it's purely constructive criticism. Some people, most notably Bean, had issues with the original title and thumbnail of the video, calling it clickbait. While I don't agree with it being clickbait, I do think if you're going to make a constructive criticism video over a custom track, that thumbnail and title just doesn't work. And Mankalor knows that himself, as he had time to reflect over the video over the years. With that being said, let's look through some of the comments some people within this community had to say towards this video. Fucking idiot. This idiot can take his opinion and shove it up his asshole. Twice as popular as me, don't give a shit. Woo. I mean, that's one hell of an initial response there, Bean. This guy is just another rogue gamer who hacks Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online, but unfortunately, he has many fans sucking him off. Pretty funny considering that a good amount of people were doing that in Bean's server when Bean was doing his little outrage. They also did it during the Victor situation. I'm not going to name anyone in specific, but you can just look through the comments of both situations and see who was on Bean's joystick. And his brain dead followers will listen to every fucking word. If I was a big fan of Bean and Mankalor and I saw that comment, I would honestly feel like shit. If you want to get mad at Mankalor for the thumbnail and title, fine, go ahead. But to trash on his fan base by calling them brain dead followers, I think is a step too far. You are one of the biggest figures in this community. Everyone who's a part of this community or is at least familiar with it knows exactly who you are. And whether you asked for this or not, your actions reflect on this community as a whole because of that. You can't be going around calling outsiders and newcomers fucking idiots and brain dead followers just because they don't like your tracks. You're not making the community any better by doing this, and Lord knows this community is not the best. We got shithead top players with ego problems, shithead lower tier players with ego problems, people undermining others for how they score in lounge events, players having a cock in their profile pic in a lounge server. Yes, that fucking happened. Players roasting other players for getting into unfortunate real life scenarios, harassing people to the point where they left the community, among other things.
Or just after like each
I'm not even saying you shouldn't have been upset over the thumbnail or title. I just think you could have conducted yourself better. Like, if you want this community to grow, you need to not replicate this. And I know you do care about the growth of this community because back in 2020 during the World Cup, when Claw did his little stunt, he was immediately banned, and you talked about how the ban was justified and and it made the community look bad. I always find it funny how people say, oh, we should partner with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe community, or we should get a sponsor for this tournament coming up. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but bro, open your eyes. No one wants to fuck with this community. Like, this community is such a toxic mess. Who would want to even look our way, let alone partner with us? And it doesn't help how top figures like Bean are doing shit like this. I could attempt to strong arm Mankalor here by refusing to work before the video is removed. So you're telling me that Bean was considering to go on strike over a video someone made who's not even really a part of this community to begin with? I mean, it is his pack after all. He can do what he wants. This is just one problem I have when you have one person in charge of a program that's solely responsible for keeping this whole community together. Like, this is what I mean when I say Bean can't take criticism well. He's willing to make rash decisions like this on a whim. Decisions about a video he didn't watch when it first dropped. Like, imagine if Mankalor just did this video as a troll and he was just a complete asshole about it, and Bean actually decided to go on strike over this. That would have been so much worse. CTGP's codes and updates are built by me alone. The contents of the updates are provided by many skilled track authors and ghost drivers, of course, and translators. But at the end of the day, I'm still the one who has to do the tedious task of building those update files. People often say that Bean has a huge workload and whatnot, and I can't imagine how fucking taxing it is to even be responsible for something like that. But if it's as tedious as you say, why not get like a whole team to help you out with that? Like, feel free to educate me in the comments about this. But if I was in that position, I would get a team of coders to actually help me out with that. Like, there's a staff team for Lounge, Weemfi, MKPS, Track Testers Discord. Why would I put all this work and pressure on myself alone over a program that's solely responsible for keeping this whole community together? And it's not like Bean is the only coder in this community. I mean, look at online TTs. That shit didn't come out of thin air. Just left my comment there too. I'm fed up with people like this who have no idea and just criticize for money. Here's Atlas's comment on Mankalor's video. To summarize, Atlas is saying you must learn to make or do things yourself before criticizing them. Then they completely contradict themselves while replying to Mankalor's comment, essentially saying one does not need to make something to give an opinion. And in this sentence, they say it's reasonable to criticize something you pay for, but you can't if it's something for free. Like, Atlas was just all over the place with these comments. Like, I was just utterly confused when I was reviewing this shit in my notes. And for some weird reason, Atlas was really frustrated that Mankalor was making money over this video and accused him of that video just for doing that. After like Mankalor was just fucking bawling after making that fucking video. Mankalor bawling at the club, pulling up all the women that come his way. Like, what? Like, what does money have to do with any of this? Yeah, CTGP is free, but to say you can't criticize anything about it just because it's free, I think is fucking ridiculous. That's almost like saying you can't criticize a fan game because it's free, even though it might have many problems with it. What makes this more insane is this comment being made replying to an anti-Peaks person, because your opinion is not the only one that matters in the world. If you don't like it, don't play CTGP. It's no skin off my nose. Okay, Raptor, calm down. If you want me to make the changes you want, how about actually donating to the project? Yeah, I'm gonna say no to that, bro. Why the fuck should anyone in this community spare a dime to give you money to fix a track that's clearly outdated and clearly is in desperate need of an update, when I and many people in this community know you can do that update without having a penny being thrown your way? So shortly after this video was released, Mankalor and Bean decided the best way to settle this was in a Texas deathmatch. Oh wait, sorry, no, they actually DM'd each other on Discord. Sorry, I've been watching too much wrestling. And as much as I would love to present to you guys what was said in this conversation, I don't think it's my place to. But even when the beef seemed to have settled, that didn't stop people in the community to harass Mankalor to the point where he doesn't want to play CTGP. Bro, Kat, you're reaching with that one, bro. Mankalor is just overreacting. We didn't harass him. Harass, to annoy persistently, to create an unpleasant or hostile situation for especially an uninvited and unwelcome verbal or physical conduct. Alright class, let's review some of these notes. MrBean calling him a fucking idiot. MrBean's angry YouTube comment on Mankalor's video. Imagine being such a scumbag to piss off Bean this much. LOL. Peaks isn't bad, UR plus ratio. He's being an idiot, ignore him. Mankalor is exactly what is wrong with the community nowadays. Okay bro, whatever helps you sleep. Mankalor sucks video win, hopefully tomorrow. His fan base is likely very young, which more often than not means they're more rabid and dumb. I ripped him a new one just now. Jesus fucking Christ. Good job. Stop criticizing a track. Have you ever made a track? No. So don't be rude to the creators who have spent a long time creating these tracks. And it just goes on and on and on. And you can say, oh, this is just old shit. Why are you bringing up old drama? The two have settled their differences with each other. Yeah, well, this comment that Bean made a year later convinces me otherwise. That video cheesed me the hell off and made me wonder why the fuck I even bothered. So when I called him out, he ends up getting a taste of his own medicine and blames me for it? Cute. Yeah, I can safely say that these two are not on good terms with each other. This is just me, but I can't feel sympathy for someone who gets demotivated and depressed over a video. And whether Bean did this on accident or not, then makes someone else demotivated and depressed. Even if you disagree with the title, thumbnail, everything about Mankalor's Peaks video, when is it ever good to harass anyone? Any answers? Come on, people. Come on. Come on. Oh wait, harassing someone is actually terrible, and it makes the whole community look bad. On top of newcomers not wanting to be part of the community because of that. Damn, who would have thought that, dude? Let's not even pretend that people weren't harassed out of this community before. Unfortunately, Mankalor was just another victim of this, whether Bean and his fan base did this on accident or not. And it affected him to the point where it demotivated him to make content. Bro, you're not Mankalor. How can you even say that? How would you know? No disrespect to the guy, but I don't want to be anyone but myself. And you're right, I'm not Mankalor, but I'm pretty sure this guy is. What were your true intentions when making the Mushroom Peaks video?
Just to get my thoughts out there and to hopefully get awareness to get people to, well, the creators and just get the track updated at the very least, because my intention wasn't to like advocate for the track to be removed, but to get an update for it. Yeah, make it more accessible, prettier, and yeah, just make it an overall updated to the standards of custom tracks today.
Okay, yeah. Did you think that it was fair for people to make judgments, like to make their judgments based on the title and the thumbnail of your video alone without watching the video in full?
I mean, I can understand the anger toward that, but as time has gone on, I feel like that the title has become a bit more accurate to what the track actually is like. Yes, people should absolutely watch the videos and get the person's full opinion before making the judgment. Yeah, I do feel people were a bit unfair with prematurely judging it.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but like you put in the title you put Mushroom Peak sucks, and then in the thumbnail you put trash into it.
Correct.
Yeah, and personally, I watched your video a few times. I thought it was basically like constructive criticism, but like for what the title and thumbnail was suggesting, I don't think those two meshed pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand that. I think maybe a better title might have been like Mushroom Peak sucks, here's why, or something like that. Yeah, that probably would have been a better one. But I do feel like people were using it as like a scapegoat to avoid talking about it, or using it as justification to not make any changes to it.
I know you've shown this comment to me like in our Twitter DMs, but just for the audience, was there any comment on your video that rubbed you the wrong way?
A couple comments. There was the one from MrBean originally, since he was like refusing to watch the video, and I think there's a point about him making this stuff for free, and it came across as just him not handling criticism very well. Yeah, and then there was the other one by Atlas, who was saying if you're not a custom track creator, you can't criticize it, which is an outright horrible take.
That shit made me laugh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Being mentioned, how about donating to the project if you want your opinion to matter, and
that's a yikes. All right.
A big yikes. And oh yeah, and there was another one by the author of the thread was Sunix MKA. He's not the one who's making the bad post, but Bean eventually replied to that post saying, well, you're pushover then. I'll actually fight against these injustices.
I know you and Bean like came to a truce by the end of it, but did you think Bean's apology was genuine in any way?
Yeah, I'm not sure how genuine it is. I mean, yeah, he did say he was sorry for blowing up on me, but I also did mention to him in the DMs that he should make an apology post, but I think all he did publicly was just reply to my apology post saying, that's good, everything's all sorted out. I think more than just apologizing would have been nice, and maybe taking steps to either updating the track or at the very least watching the video so he actually is listening to people's criticism. Because I'm well aware he's actually working on his own remake of Mushroom Peaks, but I believe that was announced back in like October 2020, if I'm correct. 2021, I can't recall, but yeah, that was like almost 2 years ago. I'm not sure what his thought process of it. It sounds like he want to do it himself, but given how busy he is with all the other modding stuff he's been doing, it's like probably not going to get to that eventually. He probably should just commission someone else to do it.
Well, judging by the apology that I looked over, you actually wanted to make it both public for both audiences so that like get a good idea of it and get some closure behind this whole controversy.
Yeah.
Has anyone else personally reached out to you for apologizing for overreacting to your video?
Nope, no one has reached out and apologized to me.
Was this whole situation the only reason you chose to step away from the community, or was there other reasons that somewhat relate to it?
I think a lesser reason was like the overall some balancing issues with base Mario Kart Wii, but I think I probably would throw more new stuff. I played it more, but yeah, this peak situation, this is the main reason.
If it's not too personal, how did this whole situation affect you afterwards?
Yeah, I think I was definitely. Well, I never got like an actual diagnosis. I didn't speak to any therapists, but I definitely felt like, yeah, some quite depressive and lost motivation quite easily when making content. There were times when it was like out in like public, when it's like all a nice day, and then suddenly those thoughts of everything that happened just suddenly rush over me.
Would you say you're in a better place now? Like,
yeah,
right.
I'm in a better place now. Yeah.
Like, let's say like if certain aspects of CTGP and the people who play like a big role in CTGP in general changed for the better, would you like return to this community casually?
Maybe. I think I'll definitely need to see, yeah, more changes, like being more open-minded to criticism and making the mod pack more accessible to like casual players, because as amazing it is to have like 250 custom tracks, that is quite overwhelming for a lot of like casual players to have to learn all these new tracks, and not to mention have to learn it at 150, 100 in mirror. I know there was some polls about that, so that may change, but criticism on ancient tracks like these that are handled, and it's how it's handled by the influencers, that it's not very good.
Have anything else you'd like to say to the audience, Mankalor?
Well, this discussion may make people think that I hate MrBean or something like that. While I have lost respect for him, I don't absolutely hate him. I am very concerned with his behavior considering how much of an influencer he is in the Mario Kart Wii modding community. Like, for example, about a year after the incident happened, he sent a message in his Discord server saying how it's cute that I blame him, that I got depressed for everything that happened, and also he seems to be dismissing my feelings and I'm upset just because he's upset. He then went on to quote-unquote apologize within that Discord server, but that's not really a good apology since one, it wasn't directly sent to me, and with the other messages, I question the sincerity of that, and perhaps even the original apology from when the incident actually happened. I only think of someone as a bad person if they're made aware of something that they're doing is wrong, but deliberately choose not to do anything about it. MrBean is well aware that his track is not well designed and people want him to fix it, and he's also aware that his behavior has hurt somebody. Now, those messages were sent 2 years ago, and there is a chance he may have changed for the better since then, but considering this entire video exists because he's not been listening to almost a decade's worth of feedback, I'm not sure I can really give him that benefit of the doubt. Now, of course, he can still redeem himself, so my final message is to MrBean, and anyone else who calls the shots, but mostly Bean himself, start listening, act upon what you listen to, and learn to handle criticism in healthy ways, regardless if you think it's constructive or not. You are an influencer, and you need to start setting good examples for the community.
So in conclusion, much like the current pack, this community is a fucking mess. I didn't make this video to spark some change on some CM Punk type shit, because I know nothing's gonna change due to the people in charge and how they operate. I made this video because I feel like it's something some people in this community need to open their eyes to, and when it comes to CTs and people running them. After reviewing my notes and writing this script, some of the comments that I came across and shit, really did piss me off. Especially when some of those people have a large influence on CTGP, and one of them is a top figure in this community. Is it okay to criticize CTs? Or should we just shut our mouths and be grateful for them? Are CTs meant for everyone in the community? Or are they only catered to long-term players of this community? Can we criticize something for free? Or can we not unless we put in a few dollars? Do you want this community to grow? Or do you want to have the same mindsets and attitudes that's preventing it from growing? And Bean, if you're watching this video, I hope you reflect on it and hope that you do not repeat the same actions and comments that I presented in this video. Or you could do what you did with Mankalor and Justin's videos. Base your opinions solely on the thumbnail and title, likely call me a fucking idiot, and you'll go on with your day. further proving one of the many points throughout this video on why there's a problem with the Mario Kart Wii community. Thank you if you watched this video from start to end. Really appreciate that. Don't go and harass anyone that I mentioned in this video. Harassing someone is a shitty thing to do. Go check out Mankalor's channel if you're interested in the content he makes. Do you agree with any of the points I made throughout this whole video? Tell me in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can't criticize something if it's free. You have no right. I can't even say that without keeping a straight face. Seriously, you have no right.